I'm Sam.
I'm Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Germain.
Tell me everything.
Emma, Sam, and Lindsay on the mic. Tell me everything tonight. From the books to the screen and everything in between. If it's trending, we know. What's the tea? Let's go. It's a 306 flow. Tell me everything you know. Bring it to the show. Tell me what you heard. Yeah, every single word. Tell me everything. Tell me everything.
And this is a big one too, because Sam, you know Germain. I don't know Germain. Okay. Germain, hi. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Lindsay.
Tell me everything about you, because Sam knows everything about you and I know nothing. And I'm like, I do know some things. Okay. I'm not like completely obtuse. Your girl does know how to Google. So,
Oh no,
really
so you've seen some
proud.
stuff.
I did send her some video links, so she's on the loop.
Yes.
The reason we have Mr. Germain Wilson here today is not because of his current career choice, where he works behind a camera, but because once upon a time in a faraway place known as Toronto, the Big Smoke, even the Six, Germain was a semi-pro and or independent wrestler. And if you know anything about me, in the last 2 years, I have transformed back into my 1990s version of myself. And I now have date nights every Friday and Monday night with my husband to watch Raw and SmackDown.
Yes.
And we watched WrestleMania. Night 1, not so great. Night 2, 12 thumbs up. So
yeah,
we're not going to dive into WWE because Lindsay doesn't follow it and not everybody follows it, but I wanted to get into the lore about becoming a wrestler, what it's like being a wrestler, and maybe to break a little of the fourth wall, if you will. I mean, there's a new show on Netflix called Unreal where they take fans behind, and I know you have opinions on that. You and I talked about that a little bit. So first of all, give us the scoop on who you are today. Like, if you introduced yourself to people today, who would you say, hi, my name is Germain and I am what? And then take me back 20 years to how you would have introduced yourself.
The first version of this, they might be the exact same. Hi, I am Germain Wilson and I follow my passions. I am right now a camera operator for news, local news in Regina, and I'm having a blast. At the first, it was really difficult to sort of transition from what I used to do, because Sam, you know, and Lindsay, you'll hear now that I've done a lot of stuff in my career. I'm just gonna, can I say names of shows?
Yes, absolutely. He worked on Big Brother. He worked on the final Tragically Hip concert. He worked on, Germain has seen some things. So we can get into the lore of all of the being behind the camera and watching people's face as the world is experiencing history.
Yes.
But 20 years ago, who was Germain?
20 years ago, I was always looking for something new and fun to do. And I learned early when I was in school for camera that I had an eye for it. Son of a single mom, I watched a lot of TV growing up. And so once I got into college and I touched a camera, I just fell in love with the ability to do that. I almost failed stills photography for some reason, but video for some reason is my thing. And I watch a lot of, I don't know, I'm addicted to murder docs and stuff like that. So I watch a lot of that stuff.
Yes.
But I've just seen every type of television. And so when I was behind the camera, it didn't matter what situation I was in. Random stories. Okay, Deal or No Deal Canada. Or a Deal or No Deal, the show in general. There's this moment where the competitor says a number 16, and then the camera just zooms into number 16. It's the show with the briefcases. You know that show?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So there are 4 rows of briefcases. And so I used to think someone in the back just hits a number and it just automatically is preset and it just zooms right in. Nuh-uh. When the director from LA came up, he's like, you're doing that. That's your camera. And so there was a stress to it. It was like, because you have to nail frame size and you have to nail your focus. You don't have time to check and preset marks on your focus. You have to just use the force, basically. And so, yeah, it's the moment where the competitor says 16, and then my light comes on, and it's like, you better hit it right. There were times where the competitor would say a number that was already chosen. The director takes my camera, and I'm like, I know it's not there. It's gone. I'm checking all 4 rows. I know it's gone. And he's yelling at me, go, 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 camera 4, go. And I'm like, he's gonna see it. He's gonna see it. It's just like, I love the pressure of that. It's such a stressful situation, but
I'm
it's a
stressed
stress I
listening to this.
enjoy. Yeah.
I'm like, absolutely not. I'm a planner. I need to know everything in advance. I don't want this random. It needs to, you need to organize everything ahead of time. No, this sounds terrible.
But flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has served you well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's so much fun. And I've worked on shows where the framework was actually very tight as well. Canadian Idol. Oh, can I mention Joan Tassoni? She was the best. I learned so much from her as a director. And
you're blowing my freaking mind right now, Germain.
What?
Like, what?
Oh,
That's how neat his story is. We're here to talk about wrestling, but quickly run her through the shows you've worked on.
Yeah. Okay, because am I getting too deep into the stories here?
Listen,
no, just give me those.
No, that's fine.
No.
Okay,
I want to know every TV show you've worked on now, because what the fuck?
Yeah.
You just dropped some big names on me.
Yeah, it's been a lot. Canadian Idol was one of the. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Joni, I worked on the show as a handheld operator, and I was doing wide shots, supplementary stuff. I wasn't on the main cameras. And then Simon Dalrymple, I learned so much from him too. He, a camera operator, was leaving the show. And so she came to me and she said, I need someone who's going to be here all the time. Do you do tight follow, which is like close-ups? I used to be super wide shots, and now I'm like their face. And I had never tried it before. And I said yes. I lied to her. And I learned how to do close-ups on live television across Canada. It was so much fun, and I just love to put myself in situations where the water's just that little bit deep and just grow into it.
What else? What other shows? Keep her going.
What other shows? Yeah, I'll run some shows. Yeah, Tragically Hip's last concert, in terms of planning, there was no planning.
He was
there.
on Gord Downey's face camera.
Yeah. I was the close up. I was in the penalty box off to the side low, and I thought the director had lost faith in me. Dave Russell, I really want to give credit to all these people who have helped me along the way. He put me off to the side in this penalty box, and I'm like, I think he's lost faith in me. And then it turned out that I got a third of the close-ups in that show. If you watch the DVD, DVD, the show.
I have it.
Yeah.
Listen, I lived in Kingston.
Were you there?
When I worked in radio, I will never forget the day that Gord Downey walked by my office, and I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then he stopped, turned around, walked into my office, and he was like, you must be new here. I'm Gord. And I was like, oh, I know who you are. Hi. And he's like, you're Lindsay? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, so nice to meet you. Can't wait to see you at the festival this weekend, because Wolf Island Music Festival happened in Kingston. And I saw him again side stage, and I was just like, this is mind blowing. So yeah, huge hip fan.
I'm so glad to hear that. So here's my crossover with him, a personal story. It wasn't on this show, but I think it was a Junos or something. I'm flying home. I'm tired, and I got my seat wrong for my ticket. And I walk up, and Gord Downey is in the seat that I think is my seat. And so I'm like, because we flew with some of the artists sometimes. It was like that. And so I say, excuse me, Mr. Downey, I think you're in my seat. And then his bodyguard, big, huge guy right beside him in the middle seat, says, he looked at my ticket and he's like, no, you're behind us. I'm like, okay. But he was wearing that, that pork pie hat or whatever pork pie, is that the right term? That he always wore. He had that on, and he just didn't say a thing to me. He looked at me for a sec, but he just was quiet. Whatever. But the Tragically Hip concert was by request. of Gord Downey. He said he wanted the crew who shoots the Junos, and since I was working on that crew, he had seen my work and wanted us to do that. So yeah,
Amazing.
I got to shoot his close-ups.
So we have Canadian Idol, we have Junos, we have Deal or No Deal,
Dragon's Den. Yeah. Canada's Ultimate Challenge, that may be lesser known, but like we traveled the country. I saw both oceans in a week. It was such a rush to be out in the mountains and carrying my camera on rocks and setting my tripod up in this very unforgiving terrain, but trying to make a solid platform for myself because I'm glad I'm talking about this. I worked with the absolute longest lens available in Canada. It had a 1500 times zoom.
Oh,
Yeah. It's still, I believe, the longest lens available in Canada.
okay,
In fact,
wait. So like baseball bat length long, like what? How does that? I don't understand this.
I can't even do it in this frame. Here, if I'm standing it up, it's
like a
taller
foot?
than that.
2 feet?
Yeah, it's like a foot. It has a
Stanley?
handle
A
for just
Stanley?
the lens. Yeah, yeah. So the whole game is, I made this up myself. Put the tripod low as possible. So now you're stable. Sit down, sit sideways to the camera. So what I'm shooting is always in that direction, and I'm looking at a screen in front of me. So it's always a weird sideways thing that camera people don't usually do. And just babysit it. Balance your lens so that it's absolutely where you want it to be, the zone you're shooting in. And then just gently, it's just gentle babysitting. It's so much fun to do. And a lot of ops are scared of it. I gotta say, I'm proud of myself for doing that. Yeah, there's a lot. I have a lot of stories that maybe I'm missing. There's a lot.
Okay, but then there's stories about being behind the camera and everything like that, and then apparently this absolutely, dare I say, a little bit of a camera nerd, because you clearly love your technology. You love the stuff that you've done. There is this completely different alter ego that Sam sent me like 1,000 YouTube clips on. She's like, you need to see this. And I was like,
Oh, okay.
what? And honestly, you have just blown my mind in like 5 seconds, because like talking to you and like you going full nerd mode on like the full like camera stuff, and then knowing what I've seen, I'm like, what?
So, Germain, introduce us to your wrestling alter ego.
Okay. Oh, I wish I had my shades with me. I don't even know if I can do the character. I was never great on the mic. I was better in the ring. But I'm JQ Public, Man of the People. I was searching to find a name that like would be, I don't know, a cool character name, and I just couldn't think of anything. And then I was just like, when like a fake driver's license or a sample driver's license, it's like the John Q Public. So I just put a K at the end, JQ Public with a K instead of a C. Maybe it was lazy, but that's the name that I went with. I sometimes regretted it because it's hard to chant for the fans, but anyway, that was me.
And that's like CM Punk, similar vibes.
Yes, I'm really glad you said that. Can I interrupt you, Sam? I'm so sorry.
Yes, of course.
CM Punk. So one of the clips I sent you where the top rope breaks. I don't know if we're going to be able to show.
Lindsay was watching that before we got in. She's like, yeah, I'm just watching the rope break.
Yeah.
CM Punk was at that show. He was in the locker room at that show. Yeah. I knew him back when. Knew him is maybe too strong a term, but we worked the same shows.
Acquaintances.
We sat together and talked. Back when he had like the blonde hair, way back when he was young. He was like, I don't know, 18, 20 years old. And I was older than him. I am older than him. So we would sit and talk. He had the Pepsi tattoo. He explained to me why he got that, and that he's straight edge, and that his friends had gotten alcoholic tattoos, and he wanted to get the Pepsi tattoo. So, and we both, it's the CM Punk JQ Public, we both talked about how our names are similar and that we should be a tag team. But obviously he went far further than I did with it all.
CM Punk is who lost to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And if you don't know that yet, then, well, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
I just learned, so spoiled it for me.
Yeah, sorry.
But I say this with love, because I've never I never watched wrestling. My family just wasn't the people who introduced me to that kind of stuff. But I've actually been to a live wrestling show. Like I went to one in Regina. So I've been to one.
Can you mention who it was?
Did you go to High Impact Wrestling or did you go to
Yeah.
WWE show? You saw a
WWE?
local. No,
Yeah.
she went to
High Impact.
CWE or High Impact Wrestling.
The local people.
The High Impact.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I have been to one of those as well, and the people watching in that is almost as entertaining as the show.
Girl,
yes.
let me tell you, that was.
And it's no slam against the people who are there. I like to think that they're characters in their own right and that they take on their own personas too.
Yes.
So then I have so many questions. Okay,
you just shoot. I'm going to let Germain answer and I will interject occasionally because I am someone who grew up watching wrestling, watching WWE. Shawn Michaels was my favorite. He does not look like he did in the 90s, but also when I see the videos in the 90s, I was like, what was 1990s Sam thinking? Like, he looks like a Fabio wannabe. Like, it's a little weird when you think of it now. And also him coming up to Sexy Boy. A man dancing around in pink pants to Sexy Boy is a bit much. But anyways, getting back into it is because of Netflix. That's how it happened for me. But I was never someone who thought I could wrestle or thought I had any inclination to wrestle. So I will ask the first question. How the heck did you become a wrestler?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Okay, so it's all started really in elementary school. I wasn't a huge fan. My mom used to watch, and I used to berate her for like, how can you watch this barbaric violence? And I was very, very upset. I was maybe 8 years old at the time. So then when I was 10, I'm on the playground, and my friend Nima, he picked me up and turned me upside down and dropped me on my head. And he said, "That's a pile driver." And I was like, "What's a pile driver?" And so
You could speak after he gave you a pile driver? I'm more like, do you have a concussion?
No, I was totally fine. I guess, wrestling fans sometimes have an ability. Don't try this at home, but we try this at home. And sometimes we have a very good ability to sort of see how they're doing it safely and mimic that. So I never got hurt. I never got hurt wrestling. Never happened. But yeah, he dropped me on my head, and so I had a curiosity, and so I went home and started watching it like crazy. 10 years old, WrestleMania 1. It was right before WrestleMania 1 that I got into wrestling. Yeah.
It was WrestleMania 42 last weekend, Lindsay.
Yeah, so I've been a fan for a long time. Yeah, long time.
Okay.
So then I'm at a wrestling show at, I want to call it Skydome, Rogers Center in Toronto. And after the show, I'm just waiting out through the crowd, and then a guy hands me a flyer, and it says, "For tickets or training, call this number." And I'm like, "Training? Yeah." Okay, so I'm there like the next night or 2 nights later, I'm at the training center. My friend drove me to the training center, and I walk in not knowing how real it is. I'm like, are they going to break my arm? Like, are they going to, like, what are they going to do to me?
Right.
But I just like those situations where it's edge of nervousness, and so they're doing it, so why can't I do it? So I walk in, and they are chopping the heck out of each other, and they're running the ropes, and it's just, I didn't even tell you, it's in this little warehouse. There's no heat. I had to take the GO train 2 hours to get there, and then 3 hours of training, and then 2 hours home. But yeah, there was almost not enough room outside the ring to barely walk. There was a brick wall right outside the ropes. But yeah, it was great. Renegade Wrestling Alliance. So thank you to oh my gosh, I'm losing his name. I really want to say his name. The guy who gave you the flyer, because he was my Steve. He goes by Steve Hart. So we'll leave it at that.
Is he part of the Hart family?
No, he's not.
Okay.
But his gimmick was like a Hart sort of homage.
Okay. So
yeah.
So you're walking out of a wrestling show.
Yeah.
Someone handed you a flyer, and you said, "Why the fuck not? Let's give that a shot."
Because I've been a fan for so long, and I've been thinking, I always thought I was too small to do it.
Okay.
And I was around 210, 215 pounds at the time, and I just thought I was small. I thought I had to be 275 to do this, or 250 at least. But then you get into independent wrestling, and a lot of guys are smaller
Mhm.
than I was. I walked in there and I was like, I can fit in. I can do that. So yeah, so in training, the first thing you learn to do is rolls, they call it. Imagine a wrestling ring and you're rolling sort of around in a circle, but you're doing front somersaults and you
Somersaults.
just
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
keep going. The thing
How
is,
many
goes through your
somersaults in a row? Like, because that sounds exhausting.
yeah, it's a lot. I was 25 when I started, so I was a little late actually to the game at that
Okay.
age. But it would be like, I don't know, 10 or so, around that. Do it till you're dizzy is the instruction.
Okay.
And then at that point, you get up and run the ropes because you have to sort of know how to do that basic stuff while you're in a disoriented state in case you get a concussion or something like that during a match.
Are they trying to make you throw up? Is that what's like the goal here?
I hate being dizzy. It's the worst thing, but for wrestling, I did it.
It
I did
sounds
it.
like
I
the
did it.
spin around on a baseball bat and then try and run
Yeah,
straight
that's
as you did as a
exactly.
kid.
Yeah, it's exactly that. The first time you go for the ropes, and a thing you'll notice maybe watching wrestling now, because Lindsay, you're gonna watch more wrestling, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
When
You
they run the
lie to
ropes,
his face.
No,
yeah,
I will absolutely sit down and watch some wrestling. Jermaine, I've watched some of yours already. So like that says, you know what, the
thank
fact that I
you.
have watched you run the ropes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it. That's the term. Okay, great. Yeah.
yeah.
So I've and the rope snapping and stuff. Anyway, please continue. Tell me more about your training.
As you run the ropes, you have to grab that top rope every time you run it. If you don't grab that rope, and I've seen it happen in training, you don't grab the rope, sometimes you slip through the ropes and fall right out of the ring. So your arm has to go on top of the rope, and you have to grip it every
Oh.
length. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just a safety thing. Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times where rookies just didn't know, and they just end up on the floor. Um,
Is that
am I
still the
telling the
case
right
even in pro wrestling?
stories? Yeah, 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 yeah. You'll see it now that I've told you. You'll see it on Raw.
I think of guys like Braun Breaker, he's not new. He's one of the Steiners. Lindsay, you're going to learn about my nerdiness here this is a little embarrassing, but he runs at 21 miles per hour. That's his whole gimmick. He's so fast. How are you running rope to rope and grabbing it and getting up to that speed?
You're gonna see it. He grabs it every single time. You have to. You have to. It's a safety thing. And if you see someone miss it, it's just danger. You're not supposed to do that.
And that's why it's so easy to flip people over the ropes then.
Yeah, yeah. But even when you flip over the ropes, like if you're taking a back clothesline over the ropes, and I've taken it, it's scary because you have to go upside down and your fall is to the outside where the like near the crowd where the audience is. It took me a while to learn it, but you have to grip again that rope with one hand and just kick your legs up and just go back and trust. Like once you get upside down, that you're going to be able to right yourself because you're athletic enough. You just feel like you're athletic enough to get.
So clearly you were athletic enough at 25 to be willing to do all of these shenanigans.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they do be sounding like shenanigans, turning yourself dizzy, making sure you're not letting go of a rope, and then saying, let me just backflip over this shit. That's fine. Like, no big
yeah,
deal. What?
yeah.
YOLO.
It
Yeah.
got to be so much fun. You've seen in the clips too that I do a lot of dives. I love jumping over the top. There is no feeling like that. It's like flying. And I know you're thinking, but there's that hard landing at the end of it.
Yeah.
But training is such that everyone is supposed to know the same thing. So I've had matches where I met these twins from California that day, and we had an excellent match together because we just talk. You get into the locker room and you talk about what you've done, and you sort of gauge how much you can trust that person with your body. And so sometimes if I'm talking to someone who I feel like is too inexperienced, I'll cut some dives. I'll be like, I'm not doing that with you. I won't even tell them. I'll just be like, I just tell them the moves I do and leave out the dangerous ones. But I trusted them. Their training and their experience sounded like they knew what they were doing. One of the clips I showed of my dive outside is onto those twins, and it's a team. It's a teamwork, dreamwork. I throw, abandon, and just dive, and I know they're going to catch me either like underneath like this or like one on top, one on the bottom, and I'm aiming for their chest. And And if I'm off, they'll step into it and catch me at the right. So every landing, I never got hurt. Every landing was safe because I just picked my opponents for their safety level and just did what I.
But does that make you lucky? Like, because like, are injuries common in like wrestling? Like, what's the,
Yeah,
I don't know, like, how frequently people get like, I'm sure there's hurt, and then I'm sure there's
right.
like seriously hurt. So like, what's the dichotomy about that?
That's a tough one, Sam. What would you say about the numbers of injured? There's a lot of people injured right now.
Well, there's someone who gets hurt every week, but I think what maybe she's asking about is what will you push yourself through before you stop and you're actually like out.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
like you
okay.
saw even watching this past week, the number of people you saw wrapped in K-tape,
Yeah,
or ribs wrapped, because they literally wrestled the night before. It's crazy to me that they can turn around and come back and wrestle after WrestleMania, because some of those fights were unhinged.
yeah,
But it is, when I talk about this with my husband, it's a mental toughness thing. Like, there are wrestlers who are good and technical, and then there are wrestlers who have no quit and have no business still being on their feet and
yeah,
are still pushing through. And at the point where you're like, I would have given up 20 minutes ago, but they're still very determined to like push this through. Part of it is it's their job,
yeah.
but the other part of it is there's an entertainment factor there to it. But like, what have you seen people push themselves through to get to the end of something before you're like, and they're going to the hospital when they're done?
Yeah, okay, okay. There's a couple things that come to mind here. I once saw, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the wrestler
It's
that this
fine.
happened to, but there's a move called the Last Ride that the Undertaker does. Uh, Obafemi calls it the Fall from Grace right now, where it's like a power bomb. So Lindsay, like the person is sort of seated on your shoulders, like facing you, and
Their
so their
crotch
head
is
is like
right in your face.
the crotch
Okay.
is in your face. I was trying to
Okay.
avoid saying that, Sam.
Visually, what you
Um,
need, like their legs are over
yeah,
your shoulders and you're
over your
holding them in
shoulders.
front
Yeah,
of you. Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
It's on your shoulders backwards. Got it.
Yeah,
That
and
was
then yeah, yeah. Okay.
an easier way of describing it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's rewind. Okay, and then from there, you raise them up even higher, and then they fall straight on their back. And what you're supposed to do, what you're trained to do, is put your arms out flat and land flat and try to how do I say, uh
Like, balance your
like
weight.
yeah, balance your weight and have the landing land on more parts of your body than just like don't be tight, be wide.
Spread
And
out, it's like when you're walking on ice. Spread your
you
weight out.
nailed it. You
Okay.
nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah. I saw a kid get nervous on the way down, and he put his elbows back like this instead of like out. He was like, and his arm snapped
No.
here. He had an extra elbow. Yeah, it was awful. And it was right before my match. Um, but it was the end of the match, so he just finished, but like it bruised up right away. He went straight to the hospital. He got metal rods put into his arm. Yeah, yeah. It was
Oh my
so
God.
hard to watch. Yeah,
It's hard
but
to watch. Like, I can't
yeah,
fathom watching it after you just like explaining it to me.
Okay, but can you
yeah,
explain the pain training? Because I was reading something today, because this is my life now, about how there's not as many house shows, which is what they call the shows that weren't on
yeah,
TV. Like, they used to tour way more than they do.
Okay.
And it made them better because their bodies were way more accustomed to taking the
yes,
hits. Fewer
yes.
shows actually can lead to more injuries.
It's true.
Am I explaining that correctly?
Sam, you're absolutely right. When we were on like regular routine, we would go. The routine was do a show, go out and party that night,
As you
um,
do.
as you do. Uh, Sleep, get to sleep really late. Maybe the sun's even coming up, and then you maybe are driving or you're sleeping in the car on the way to the next town, And then you get to the gym and you work out there, or maybe at the venue there's a gym and you work out there. And then you start talking matches over with the person. It's the afternoon now. You're in the ring actually before the show. You're in the ring, not necessarily you're not rehearsing the actual moves. You are just talking them through in slow motion, being like, we're going to be here when we do this, and this needs to happen this way. And can you stand here for me for this dive and all of that, just to get it specific. Because it's like a live stunt show. And it's multiple stunts in a row.
Thank you.
So,
what a great explanation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. My next question was like, is it real? Because like, let's be real. I'm gonna throw my hair back for this one. Let's be real.
Yeah.
The first thing that everyone says is like, wrestling is fake, and I'm like, I don't know.
You just said the F word.
Fake.
Listen, it's probably better than the amount of fucks I drop every single day. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Different kind of F.
So here's the thing, is that the few times that I've watched wrestling, and I'm like, well, okay, is it choreographed down to the T? Like, how much of it is like you come up with beefs with other people? Because like I hear about, honestly, the only one that I know is The Undertaker, to be honest, because my husband dresses him for Halloween one year. But like,
if you're gonna know one, Taker's a good one to know.
And I know about him just because like I know that he was not wrestling for a long time and then came back, and that was like a really big deal. So I know that. But beyond that, like what rehearsal, when you're talking about rehearsal, like do you guys decide the outcomes ahead of time? Like how long you were talking about how long people are willing to go during a fight, like where they don't quit, and or there's a point where they like, do they tap out? Is that how that works? I don't explain it.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's mostly at the end. It's a 3 count pinfall. But where should I go with this? In terms
start with the story.
planning.
Start with where it starts before you even get in the ring, because there's story meetings, Lindsay. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Yeah, basically,
yeah. Storyboarding. Okay, got it.
So there are these things called wrestling. Wrestling happens in spots. They're called spots, and a spot is a predetermined routine within the match that is a series of moves that the wrestlers both know are coming. And you're supposed to both, you sit there together and you talk it out together, and then you go off by yourself into like a stairwell, and you're like, okay, it's body slam, clothesline, drop kick, powder, okay, then the dive spot. And so you just
and you memorize
you both have to know it. You memorize this.
Oh my God.
You both have to know it. And there are times when you're behind the curtain and you go out and you're just like high-fiving the crowd, and you're like, what's the first spot? I have no fucking clue.
Well, shit.
And so, you just but I, again, love the pressure of that. And then by the time you get in the ring and you look in their eyes and you're like, I know it. And so then you just lock up and you just go. But I wrestled the Evil Undertaker. Do you remember when there were 2 Undertakers? Did you ever see that?
I don't remember that at all.
No, not.
You could have told me there was 5. I wouldn't have any freaking clue.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, The Undertaker left at one point. He lost a casket match. He got buried in a casket, and then he disappeared. And then $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase brings in this fake Undertaker that all the fans know is fake, but he looks really similar. So then the real Undertaker comes back. I just recently watched this on Netflix, so it's fresh. And then they're face to face, and they fight at SummerSlam. I want to say 1994 or something in that range. And so Evil Undertaker versus Undertaker. So fast forward to I'm in 1999. I'm wrestling, and I get a match with the guy who played the Evil Undertaker. He's 6'7".
They're big boys.
Yeah, I'm 6'2".
Did it the first time in your life you felt short?
Yeah, and I was afraid. I was very, very nervous. But I was really glad that I had accumulated the acumen inside the ring to be able to be entrusted with a match like this. It was my first name match. They call it a name match because he was famous for stuff. I walk into I get sent into his locker room. I walk in. He's just by himself, chewing tobacco and spitting into a can. Like, gross. It was just so terrifying for me. And he says, "Okay, kid, we're gonna do this, 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 and this." He tells me all the spots that he thinks we're gonna do. I have no input. I'm just listening and trying to memorize everything. And he's done. He's done, and he spits in his can. And he's like, "Okay, kid, say it back to me." And something fell out of my mouth that satisfied him. And so he's like, "Okay, good, good, kid. Walk and talk. Just walk and talk out there." And so, fast forward to the match. I'm in the ring, and he rides a Harley Davidson to the ring. Intimidating as fuck. And I'm standing there just like, what am I doing here? Like, what's
How
gonna
did I
happen?
end up in this place?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm like, how hard is he gonna hit? Like, you don't know that until you get in there. Because so he gets into the ring, and he is the most gentle, and
Oh.
we talked the entire time. He's just like, just walk and talk, kid. You see that cute girl over there? I'm gonna hit you with those crutches over there. Just give me a minute. I'll go grab it. Um, he's like, I'll just slam you into the boards. And then he gave me the honor of his finisher was a choke slam, which is hand around the neck, picks me up and drops me on my back. He gave me the honor of getting out of that move. He put his hand around my neck. I kick him in the gut. I do a couple of other moves, knock him down, and then he gets up and then finally hits me with the chokeslam. I lose, but it's not about that. It's just I got to get in the ring with this guy I used to watch on TV. I had a few matches where I got to get in the ring with my childhood heroes.
Who else have you wrestled against that people might recognize? I know you used to wrestle with the Edge, right?
No, I never did, but I wrestled on his circuit. So
That's
when I
what
was
it was.
wrestling,
Okay.
I always heard that guy Adam just got hired by WWE. Adam. I'm like, who's this Adam? And then finally, I'm like, that's Edge. So the arenas and community centers and little places that I went to were the same ones that Edge wrestled at. But I can name drop some people.
Do it. Here's your
Bobby
opportunity.
Roode. Yeah, Bobby Roode. We went on a 22-hour van trip across Canada to the Maritimes. And that's where I don't know if you can see. Can you see it? There's a scar here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I
Yeah.
can see that. Yep.
So you did hurt yourself.
Well, but I didn't get injured. I hurt myself. We did a match. We did a match that was like this hardcore match, a triple threat hardcore match. So 3 people are fighting and they're using weapons. In that match,
Explain what the weapons are to Lindsay, because you say weapons now, and that means something different than the 90s.
Oh, yeah. There's no guns or knives. It's not like that. The weapons are more like
previously? What are you talking about?
No. You just want to be clear on what weapons means.
Yeah.
Okay. Like a chair.
We did, like a chair, yes. Okay. I'm glad you know that. But there was more. Okay. We would invite the fans to bring weapons of their own. Old items that they used to have. I've been hit in the head with guitars, a Nintendo Entertainment System. I've had record LPs broken over my head. Cookie sheets to the head. Oh my gosh, Missy Hyatt beat me with a kendo stick once. I've done barbed wire. But in the Maritimes, I have some scars that somewhere for barbed wire. But in the Maritimes, the fans would bring whatever they want. And so we did a match where there was he grabbed a garbage can lid. The notorious TID. I'm not saying this is blame, just to give you cred, bro. You've done a lot of stuff out there. But the one day he grabbed the garbage can lid, the sort of what I would think was the wrong way, hit me in the head, cut me here. This is hardway juice, they call it. I got bled for real. I didn't do this myself. Half my face is covered in blood. I fall on the floor and I'm just like, fuck, this is going to be a scar. I knew it in the moment. And there's this kid right beside me, and he says, "That's so fake." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
What? Okay, anyway. But people do people still cut themselves? Because that was a thing. Does that still happen? Explain how that works.
Blading.
Yeah.
Blading, yeah.
I've heard of this.
You've heard of this? In your wrist tape, you put a razor blade, and at the moment before impact, you cut yourself, and then the chair will bust it open.
Okay. So that was probably, God, I would have been in elementary or even early high school when someone said to me, and don't get me wrong, like I've heard of wrestling throughout my life. I have 3 brothers. They weren't super into wrestling, mostly because my stepmother refused to let them do that. They did some other very like unhinged things to one another with paintball guns, but we
Oh
digress.
no. Wow,
So
bruises.
yeah, but I mean, like I watched them like try to do moves on each other, and I'm pretty sure their dad was the one who was like, yeah, no, you can watch wrestling at my house, and then they bring it back to the other sides because they stepbrothers. Anyway, needless to say, I think it was my older brother who was like, oh yeah, well, it's just a razor blade thing. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, they like have razor blades and they like cut themselves. And I was like, that sounds pretty dumb. Like, why would you
Yeah.
intentionally do that? Like that seems so they tuck them, do they do that still? Like, is this a thing still?
Yeah, much less so nowadays, but
I
it
feel
used to
like
be
they
a
hit
big
each other
thing.
hard enough now that they don't have to. The amount of
Yeah,
blood I saw Sunday night was like, Cody Rhodes has 10 staples in the back of his head. He's going to be out
right,
for a
yeah,
while because he has a broken orbital bone. He took a fit to the face. I don't know why the back of his head was split open, but
yeah, I don't know.
Braun Breaker, the back of his head got split open Monday night because he took a chair the wrong way. I'm learning, Daniel told me, he's like, you're supposed to hold your shoulders a certain way, and he didn't. So he took it to the back of the head. So he's bleeding. CM Punk was bleeding, like so much blood. And you can tell when it's real when they pull out the gloves. The refs will go from
Yes,
naked
yes,
hands to gloved hands.
yeah.
What
Whenever there's blood, you see gloves go on. Yeah.
what's the floor made out of? Of like the ring.
Well, I'm so glad you. Oh, I'm glad you. Okay, I'm glad you asked this. So I once actually got to an independent show so early that I wanted to build the ring by myself. And so, can you imagine? I carried in all 4 ring posts. You start with the ring posts and you set them all up generally where you think it's going to be. And then there are these long metal bars that go across the floor underneath. And then you bring in these four 4x8s and you put them on top, and that's the floor. And then on top of that, there's foam. Like, oh, I wish I had some here. It's very like a almost like a memory foam. And then on top of that is the canvas. And so that's it.
Oh,
How do you
And
not
then,
sink into the floor though? Because it
yeah.
like because it doesn't look
yeah,
squishy.
I didn't even tell you. There used to be, I think the designs are maybe different now than what I used to wrestle in, but there was an industrial spring in the middle.
Oh,
Yeah,
so that's why it bounces.
yeah, you give like maybe 8 to 10 inches of 6 to 8 inches of give of bounce.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I've wrestled in stiff rings where there's no. I wrestle when if you wrestle in a boxing ring, it's not the same. Those have no give, and that is
Okay.
not safe for your body.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's why when people are landing on their backs and stuff like that, and if they do it correctly, beyond that other horrible story that you explained, most
yeah,
people are doing it right, and there's the little bit of like, I don't know how to describe it.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
It
yeah,
catches
yeah.
you.
That's the
yeah,
word. Yeah, yeah,
there's some.
totally.
It's the same sound that mattresses make, babies.
It's better than sex in the ring. It's better than sex.
So you started when you were 25.
Yes.
What was the point where you said, maybe my body should probably chill?
Well, I was doing wrestling at the same time as camera. And at the time, I used to work at TSN at the very beginning of my
Okay.
career. And I worked on the show that's now called Sports Center, used to be called Sports Desk back then.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a live shot that they still do where you like zoom in and the shot goes up and in to the 2 anchors of the desk. So I worked there for a while, and that's when I started wrestling. I was working there. And I didn't tell people right away. I was sneaking off to training, and I'd come back with like random bruise, and they'd ask me what that was. I was like, "Oh, I just fell." Yeah, it was like
Literally.
secretive at first. Yeah. And then at one, I got bold enough to just tell people. And you know what? I've talked myself in a circle. What was your question? I want to answer it.
Why did you quit? When did you quit?
Why'd you finally hang up the
Boots?
Right.
boot? I don't know if it's the pants, the boots,
It's
what
the
the
boots.
terminology
Hey, I'm
is.
glad you said that. I have the boots right here. Yeah, these are the
Are they
boots.
special? Are wrestling boots special in comparison to like regular boots? We're going on a tangent, but this is
Yeah,
my favorite part of this. So like,
yeah, they are. They are
Fashion.
different. They are different. I got these black ones. I only ever bought one pair. I don't know if you can see. There are
They're
actually
worn.
there are holes from thumbtacks. These are thumbtack holes from like hardcore matches.
oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah, they're still there. I just yeah, very very happy to have these. I hang them up in a corner here. Um, but why did I stop? Because I was doing camera and wrestling at the same time, and camera was taking off. I was working at TSN. I was starting to work at. Oh, I have so many stories. I've been blessed by the Pope, Pope John Paul II.
What?
People have shot like Brian Adams and Rihanna and Bon Jovi and Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood, and it's been so many. But
I like that you
I
opened with "I
just,
got blessed by the Pope."
yeah,
Pretty sure that's like top tier. So
You're good for life now.
yeah.
yeah. I'm good. I can do anything bad now, so watch out.
Okay, can we talk about the fashion? You brought out the boots.
Yeah,
There's so many costumes, and then there's so many alter egos. Like many wrestlers that exist now had different, not everyone is the same character their entire career. They have tag team partners, or they're solo, or they take on some random face painting experiment where they're different characters. The first thing I want to know is, how do you choose between the manties and the
Sam, I'm
tights?
losing you. Oh no, Sam, I don't hear you
Oh,
right now. We're gonna have to do an edit
are
here.
we still here? I asked such an
Why?
important question there. That's a really unfortunate time
Yeah,
for
you're
that to
both
happen.
Listen,
frozen,
I would
trying
say
to
that
reconnect.
manties versus tights is probably one of the most important questions in
Is it my
wrestling. I think
connection?
we might have just lost Jermaine
Maybe he'll
periodically
come.
here.
Hello,
I think
sorry,
it
I'm
is
so
because we're
sorry.
so
Am I
good. Can you
back?
hear us now?
Am I
You
There
are
we
back?
go.
back.
Yeah,
Okay,
is it
you
my
came out
internet
at like,
connection? Like,
so how do you, it might be, but it's fine. You're
It's
fine.
fine.
okay,
So
Internet
can
sorry.
you hear us
happens.
now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, can
Okay.
you hear me now?
So the very important question that I asked was, because I want to know about the fashion, how do you choose between the manties and the tights?
Okay, I'm really glad you
Because
brought up like,
seriously,
yeah, I'm really glad you brought up tag teams and stuff like that. I spent most of my time in a tag team with, this is my, I should send you this picture actually. So this is my tag team partner, Reggie Marley.
Please do.
We had we won so many titles
mm-hmm,
together. I think 8 tag titles together. That's me back in the day.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I was a
Oh
badass,
my
bro.
God, this is amazing.
But
I also feel like you're
yeah,
deflecting from the question I actually asked you.
I also didn't answer your why did I stop, really. I guess I was doing wrestling and camera at the same
You were
time, and I
busy.
just went
Work
with the
was
one.
good.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Totally
but the other one
understand.
would have been too
But
much
there's
of a
so
risk.
many different, like, there's the tight pants
Oh, the tank.
and there's the manties.
Yes.
How do you choose, and why do you choose, and what is the benefit of one over the other than the ones in the manties are covered in body oil?
Yeah, the manties, I never wore those. I have this here. Sean Sixsmith is a fan who made action figures of us.
No
So
way. That's so
No.
cool.
this is of me wearing my last outfit I ever wore that I retired. Uh,
My
yeah,
God.
and
Is that a
the
pink
picture on the back
unitard?
is me at one of
That
my
is
last shows ever.
absolutely brilliant.
And he's frozen
So I
again.
decided
This is
that because I
unfortunate.
wanted to be
It's
covered
okay.
up.
These things
I
do
didn't.
happen.
Oh
It
no, you're
does.
gone again.
When we're trying to connect via the interwebs,
Ugh,
these things
why is this
sometimes
happening
occur,
right
and
now?
that's
It's
fine.
okay. Okay, there we go. It
There
froze
we go.
on
I'm
you in a
so
pink
sorry.
unitard. That's okay. Was
Oh
that
my
a pink
gosh, I'm so
unitard?
sorry. Did you see the last one here? Red. It's red.
Oh my God.
It's red, but it's a unit. It's a singlet, actually, is what they're called, not
It's
a
a singlet.
unitard.
Yeah, that's the term. Yes, yes.
Singlet.
For me, the singlet was an homage to Mr. Perfect. He was my favorite. Mr. Perfect was. He played this really cocky character, and they did all these vignettes, Lindsay, where like he would like throw a basketball and make the shot, or he used to do this thing. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Oh, come on. I need to get up for a sec. Hang on.
We're
Ah,
about to get like live action.
Apparently, we're getting a skit. I feel like I'm. Oh, we got sunglasses.
No. Sorry, I'm so shaky. He used to do this thing with the pencil on air, every time, and I'm gonna nail this the first time, where he would catch it every time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So because of Mr. Perfect, I learned that. And I know you saw Pat McAfee used to do that too.
No, I can't do it.
Oh, yeah. I liked Pat McAfee until about 3 weeks ago, and now he's off my
Yeah.
Christmas card list. Not a
Yeah, he
big
can
fan of
go.
this weird heel turn. He's
He can
a
go.
former NFL kicker, Lindsay, who was an announcer for WWE for like 3 years. Managed to get choked out by one of the wrestlers. He actually turned purple, so I don't know how much
I don't
acting
know
was
how he
involved in
did
that.
Yeah.
But then he recently came back as like a heel, which means a bad guy. But like the
Okay.
heel is beyond heel. Like it's not funny and it's kind of gross. And he came out giving the crowd the finger. And it was like, you can be bad. And then there was that. And it's just been gross. And I just don't enjoy it as much anymore. I enjoy a
No,
bad
fans
guy who
don't
knows
like
he's a bad guy. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so we
Because
talked about.
there's an art to. Can I stop here? There's an art to
Oh,
playing heel.
explain the difference between a heel and a baby face.
I want to explain the difference between a heel and an asshole first.
Okay, go with that.
Because sometimes a person just does take it too far. Pat McAfee is razzing the fans and poking them in like
Unnecessarily
in the
so.
wrong way. Yeah, it's go away heat. It's called. Playing heel is being this character that everyone knows is an artifice, but is still so over the top and evil that you almost
You
kind
want to
of like
boo.
it. Yeah, you want
okay.
to boo. You want to boo.
Okay.
But you're not
yeah.
booing what they're doing. You're just engaged in the story where you're just like,
Yeah,
oh,
and
you're
you're
such a bad guy. And I know you're not a bad guy in real life, but oh, I don't like this.
Yeah, I like how you're not booing the human being, you're booing the
Mhm.
character.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah.
okay, and then there's like legitimate just dickheads that show up and they're
Occasionally.
Yeah, they think
Okay.
they're doing it right, but they're just like, you're just being a dickhead, and the fans don't like you because they do not like you. They don't respect
Okay.
what you're doing. It's not the same
Okay.
thing.
You've lost the room.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
yeah, you lost the
And
room.
then
And so a baby face is what I did most of my career. You're
okay.
the good guy. You want the fans on your side. You're high-fiving and you're kissing babies. Like I did all that stuff. Pictures with babies. It was so much fun. And I had fans who had my picture on their wall up beside like Justin Timberlake, like it was fun to have that life. I feel like I'm
That
not answering questions. I'm just ranting.
No,
you
this
know
is
what?
great.
This
You've
is
given like Lindsay quite the education, and
Yeah.
I've learned some things too. Because I think a lot of people don't tune into it now because they're like, I don't get it. I didn't watch it when I was younger. There's so much other stuff on TV now that
Yeah.
it's competing with, because wrestling was one of the original reality TV series.
Yeah.
And if you really think about it like that, like, yes, it's scripted, but it wasn't always scripted. It didn't start out that way. It was one of those, like, if you go back and watch the history of it and like what Vince McMahon did to bring it in, like ignore who he is as a human being. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But the way he brought it in and the way it grew and who like Hulk Hogan was in the beginning, like things really evolved as these people became publicly famous beyond the wrestling world, because there's like wrestling famous and then there's like world famous.
Yes.
And
yes.
a lot of these wrestlers, like I think of like a Brock Lesnar, because he was in UFC. Lindsay, you watched UFC.
And that's very true. Is boxing, UFC, like those are I've watched that for years.
Good.
Years.
And in those
Big
worlds, those athletes are very famous in that setting, but not often do they go beyond. Like you think of like a Ronda Rousey or a Conor McGregor, where they crack the octagon, if you will.
Yeah, but you
get out in the world.
Literally just named two dicks in the like.
Yes,
they're two
but
assholes.
you know what I mean. Yes, but you know what I mean, right? Where they get famous.
Yeah.
How about The Rock?
Okay.
The Rock, he's
Yeah.
Moana.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
so much,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
he's
crack
really
that.
famous. Yeah.
That's a good way
So
of
which
putting
is
it.
why when I talk about these random people, you're like, man, I don't know who that is. And I'm like, you wouldn't if you're not watching. And so that's why it's kind of insular. And so when you get into it, you get it. But
Yes.
when I say the reality TV thing, it's like you're literally tuning in for your stories. You're like, I'm going to watch my stories and
It's
see
like
what
that.
these people have done this week. And I want to know. And what I actually advise you to do is to watch Unreal. There's 2 seasons of it. The first one is the road to Wrestlemania last year. And then the next one is Road to SummerSlam, is what I think what the stories are. And the first one kind of focuses on like John Cena and Cody Rhodes, and then the next one's kind of on like Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch and some of the other characters. R-Truth, who is probably close to the same age as you, if not older, and has been wrestling for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's still wrestling,
I
which
can't
is
imagine doing it at this age.
because how old are you now, Germain?
I don't know.
Tell me.
Listen,
Be proud of how old you are.
We don't have to.
There's numbers.
Yeah.
I'm 52.
Yeah, which is crazy, right?
So, Kate, how did you?
Yeah,
way younger than that.
It's just a number, and it's how you and how you look at life too. But it does affect your body. Your age does affect how, in some ways, you can perform.
Yes.
But Unreal, and I remember when this started because Germain and I had a real conversation about this. Because for me, as someone who worked in television, I found it fascinating how they time out a live show. How it's like, okay, where Germain's talking about they had to memorize all these moves. Now the ref leans down and says, you need to cut this, and this because we're over time.
Yeah, the producer, they give you your time. They say you're 12 minutes tonight, you're 9 minutes, you're 21 minutes. Like they give you an exact time and you try in the ring to hit that time. Sorry to interrupt there, Sam. I just wanted to first.
And the refs are keeping time for you. But if someone gets hurt and the show is short, like in a real life instance where they're like, oh, this match is done, we have to call it, this person is hurt, you might have to make up time. So now you're adding things to the show you've already planned out. But they walk through the story room. So they talk through like, okay, we want this person and this person and this person to be in these fights at this. So this is the end game, which is Wrestlemania. How do we get these people to this part, and what are the storylines going to be? So who's going to foil who's going to hate who are we bringing back? Who do we, but like they brought back Brock Lesnar, which we didn't know. We were watching Brock Lesnar's retirement tour for the last year, which is what actually happened.
Honestly, I should say like this Obafemi match, I kind of thought it would be his last one.
Well, yeah, he wasn't coming back, but I didn't think he was going to like leave his boots and his gloves in the ring and like cry. Like that actually surprised me. But the Unreal show takes you behind the scenes, takes you in the story meetings, and they pitch their stories, much like a sitcom would be like, okay, I think this episode should be this, this, and this, but it's a live TV show. It's 3 hours long, and you're dealing with real life injuries that could kill your storyline. Like if someone gets out, like Seth Rollins having a shoulder injury, he was out from summer, like he was out 6 months because of his shoulder injury.
Did you see how he got hurt?
It was a corner to corner thing.
Yeah, he did the coast to coast where the ring is 20 by 20. So he jumped off the top rope on one end and tried to hit someone that was like, I don't know, 18, 19 feet away from him.
And he did, but in the process, damaged some things.
Yeah.
But he was a main part of their storyline. So he had to give up his belt. Because if you get hurt, it continues without you. So you have to give up your belt. So like Liv Morgan got hurt. She had to give up her belt. What's Jim Uso's wife's name? She's pregnant. She had to give up her belt. Naomi. She got pregnant, had to give up her belt. Typical of women, have to give up their belt. But there are these like stories where so Daniel and I spend so much time being like, where do you think this is going to go? And Daniel called the whole bloodline conversation months ago. He's like, no, Roman's going to win. The Usos are going to be back with Roman. Something's going to happen with Fatu. He's not ready. He'll be part of the bloodline. And all they need is Solo Sikoa to come back. And it's like, literally, it's a soap opera, but for men and women who like to watch people get beat up. And I don't like real violence. Like I have a hard time with UFC because I see the physical damage because that maximum carnage is UFC, where wrestling in that way is fake because they are very seriously choreographed so that it's not maximum carnage because UFC is like once a quarter for a big fight. You couldn't fight. You couldn't fight 3 times a week if you were a UFC fighter. You'd be dead.
Listen, I'm full like I was just watching not this past weekend, the weekend before that I was watching Yuri trying to defend his title. He's a UFC player or participant and everything like that, and he fucked up real hard in that match. But we digress. I like watching carnage, as I know that sounds like really fucking diabolical.
Well, it's famous for a reason. It's huge for a reason.
But there's, you're one thing that I'm thinking about that you said at the very beginning, Germain, that I want to go back to, because you said your mom, a single mom, was watching wrestling and you were like, ugh, Mom, how could you, I want to know, to kind of like put the cherry on top here, what your mom thought when you said, Mom, I'm a wrestler.
I didn't know that was what you were going to ask. I surprised by the ending to that question. She was against it. She thought I was crazy. She only ever came to one show. She could only bring herself to come to one show. And I predetermined, I'm such a mean child, that I wanted to get beaten the fuck up that night. And so, so
you let her see Maximum Carnage.
Maximum Carnage, and it was a hardcore match with weapons. It was weapons. There was a chair involved. The custom-made man. I'm so glad you brought this up, because I could get to mention custom-made man and the Hollywood hunks, and body count. Like, there are so many people we've worked against, but custom-made man, I told him to just destroy me with this chair, and I wasn't usually with a chair shot or with anything physical, even the super kicks. I don't know if you noticed this, Sam. Even with the super kick, you get your hand in, block the chair. Yeah. It goes like in and out. It's just like a boom, and you don't really see it because there's so much action. That's the motion. You have to time it with the impact,
and that's why they're talented.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because they're going to do it.
But
and again, you'll see it now. Then again,
did your mom know that that this was like a full rehearsed thing? Like, was she aware of the full scenario of everything? Because no wonder why she didn't go back to another one, Germain, if you just ruined the first and only one she's been to.
Yeah, I know. I was hard on her, and even Custom also berated her, yelled at her. This is your son. Look what I'm doing to your son. Yeah. And he hit me with a chair, and I decided not to take the hand. I took it on the head. So he hit me so hard that I had a lump. I had a goose egg. God. So when I went to see my mom after the show, the bump is there, and I'm like, Mom, it's okay. I'm okay. I signed up for this. I love this. Don't worry about me. And she's like, no, I can't.
Okay. So I'm sure this makes so much sense as to why she never went back to another one. If you walk out bloody and bruised and you're like, hey, Ma, how was it?
Yeah. But it's interesting though. I'm wondering, because I actually said to Daniel, because before the Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton fight on Saturday night, Cody Rhodes went and picked up his daughter, and he gave her a hug and a kiss, and she's very, very cute. And then he got in the ring, and then he took a boot to the eye socket. And all I could think was, oh my God, his daughter saw him actually get kicked in the face. And yes, it's rehearsed, and yes, it's practiced, but when he's hurt and he's not moving. And so I can only imagine what it's like when those real injuries happen and the family's watching, whether it's on TV or whether you're ringside, and the career you have chosen for yourself is not necessarily something you can do for life. You're here for a good time, but maybe not a long time.
Yeah, true. Totally true. It's not good for your body. I did things in training I think about now, and I'm like, what was I thinking?
Like what?
I would climb, because imagine in a match, it's planned when someone's climbing up to the top rope that person at the bottom is either going to be there or they're not. And sometimes when you're climbing up, you're just like, this is a planned miss. I'm gonna hit the ground face first, and I'm doing it to myself on purpose.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing to be in that situation where the crowd's like, oh, you're gonna hit him, and I'm like, no, I'm not. And then you just go and you hit it. Or I would just get up for fun. I would just climb to the top and just do a front flip and land on my back, and then get up again and then do that again. It was just fun to do. I was invincible at that age.
Okay, but you also said that you told me you never got hurt, and then you're telling me about,
Right.
oh well, I had a goose egg, and then I had like
Oh
I
yeah,
have a scar here, and then I had barbed wire over here, and I'm like,
yeah.
your definition of hurt versus my definition of hurt are two very different things, my dear.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit crazy. There is pain involved that you just
Okay.
have to get used to. Yeah, it hurts. It does hurt, but you have to be okay with the hurt. And I don't know, I have a very strange relationship with pain. I just know that once the hurt begins, that's the worst part. And now
Hmm.
you just got to wait for it to get better. And so I hurt myself in those ways so many times that I just knew the process and I knew the timing. And so I could write a match that gave me a break enough to recover from something that I knew was going to be a harder moment.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna kink shame you if it's something that you're interested in. Okay, but
Yeah,
I do.
maybe that would be a different podcast.
Yeah, I do, but I respect, I do respect it. I respect the fact that like you knew your limits and you knew where you wanted to be, and like I've learned so much in this period just like about wrestling and like the storylines and everything. Like Sam is delighted because she is going to go full nerd mode on me the next time
No,
that
I'm just
Good,
happy
good,
that
good,
you had
good.
an open mind about it because it's
you
something
have to.
that has you don't the thing is that people don't. Like it has such a I'm going to nerd out on lingo here, but the Attitude Era, which was in the 90s,
You have to watch it, Lindsay.
but it
Okay.
doesn't age well. Like Generation X
Oh, yeah,
doesn't
okay.
age well. Like there's
Okay.
certain things that they did, the way they talked about women, the way they treated women. Before there were divas, there was China. She was a lone wolf, and then there was the arm candy.
Okay.
And so it went
Like
through.
those
It
mud
went
pit
through.
matches too. They were awful.
Yeah, they're wrestling in mud, and like it went through its own evolution of like women's liberation in wrestling.
Okay.
And so some of it didn't age well, and some of the things they did and they said didn't looking back like on sitcoms, like I don't think Friends aged well. It's
Yeah.
not and people will like roast me for it, but you watch it for the nostalgia. You would not sit down today and watch that show and enjoy it because
You'd be
it's
allowed.
and you just have different standards for what's funny. And so when you're going back, you have to keep an open mind
Right.
think about the time and place, because know better, do better. I like to think they're trying to know better, do better as they're moving along. But it just makes me happy that you had an open mind, because I knew when I said, we're going to talk to someone who is a semi-pro wrestler, that you would be like, what could I possibly have to say to someone who is a wrestler? But you asked questions and now you kind of understand.
Listen.
And so now when you watch, you may have an open mind, and maybe you and Rob will also have a wrestling date night where you get involved in a men's soap opera that is not just for men.
Listen, my mother taught me to always have an open mind. Am I big on like religions? No. Will I listen to people tell me about all of their beliefs? Absolutely, because who are we if not to soak things up and experience them for ourselves and understand things? So I just think it's been absolutely wonderful learning more about just the whole, not just lore, because Sam, I know you could deep dive into lore with me like 6 ways through Sunday, but there's also just like the knowledge behind how everything is prepared and how you guys not just prepare a storyline, but your bodies and the training that's involved with it. And on top of that, Germain, you have dropped some like serious nuggets on like your actual career where I'm like, you're coming back because I have questions. And they might not necessarily be like wrestling related, but you seriously, like some of the things that you just like sprinkled in there for me, I was like, what the fuck? Like where all the places that you have been, the places you'll go, as Dr. Seuss would say. I want to know all of it.
And this is why we ask people to tell us everything.
Yeah.
If you might want to look back at some old clips of Sex with Sue. Do you remember Sex with Sue? Do you know that show?
Of course I know Sex with Sue. Come on.
There are clips. If you type in Sex with Sue and my name, you will see clips of me doing things that I probably shouldn't talk about. Yeah, in various states of undress. I was
you know
on,
what?
yeah.
Germain, Sam, I'm just going to pull. that you can't get a better ending than right there.
No,
Because-
see Johansson.
Part 2 will come up when we have Germain back, because that I you're gonna have to tell us everything about that at some point.
I am happy for the invitation. I will be back. That sounds good.
Germain, thanks for making time for us tonight.
Thank you, Sam and Lindsay, both for making time for me. This has been a pleasure. I just can't wait to see it, and I can't wait for people to see it and to hear about it. Because I come from a time when everything was so secretive, so it's nice to be able to finally talk about it. Like it's
Spill the tea, baby. Let's do it.
yeah.